Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me as always, Mr. Bobby Blunts. Oh, Bobby, we finally had this past Saturday the final card of the year, the final event of the year on ESPN. I see a lot of people because they ran like the kind of like promotional end of an era type thing on ESPN, like all the highs of the last like 7 years on ESPN or 8 years or whatever it's been. And people are like, oh, they buried themselves. They're burying, this and that. I guess it'd help if I fucking plugged my microphone in, but I don't see that. I get what they were trying to do, and you got to think this is a company that the TKO company is still working with ESPN. And then on the card itself, you get Manel Cape knocking out Brandon Royval, cementing his chance for a flyweight title from last Saturday. But I just figured, why not there?
So when you were saying people, they were shooting themselves in the foot, like people were
like
portraying it like negatively, or
yes, yeah, like digging their own grave. I've read a few clips on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, pretty much talking about that.
Yeah, the end of them like thanking ESPN and stuff, it was pretty like straightforward. They had like the video package rolled up, and I knew they would have the soundbite of Dana White going, I can no longer put on fights in America, like talking about the whole Fight Island thing. So, you kind of, it was kind of cool for me to see, just to summarize it all up, because you kind of remember like what actual parts were in this era, because especially since the pandemic and they've been in the Apex, I say it all the time with Apex Brain, a lot of the events bleed through together. So, but aside from all that, like, I think the card in general absolutely delivered. And it was kind of ironic that they finished it in the Apex, but like the fights as a whole, and I'm talking like even on the prelims, were very exciting, had some good results, some, new up and comers to watch, like from Contender Series and that. So I just, as a whole, I thought it really delivered. And, some people thought it kind of stalled out a little bit on the main card, but, Milky Costa got that insane knockout, and that like kicked it back up if it was slowing down. And Kite absolutely delivered in the spot that he was put in, cut the epic promo, calling out Joshua Van. So are we going to remember it in like 9 months? If you ask me specifically, what was the last card? We might like remember the knockouts and stuff, but I don't know if it's because we knew we weren't going to get anything for him for a few weeks, but I thought it all came together pretty well. Then again, I'm on the West Coast. The start time was a little bizarre.
Yeah, it was late. It was late. It was like a pay-per-view here, man. I was struggling. I was like, man, I can't wait till we get to Paramount and the card started an hour earlier. I could stay up. I feel, it's like that last hour just kind of drags on where I'm ready kind of almost for bedtime, you know what I mean, here in the Central Time. So I don't know how the East Coast folk or even, the Europeans stay up. I don't nap during the day, so I got to battle through it.
Yeah. And it I mean, I get it, like normally we don't break down the entire card and stuff, but I think there are a few fights like definitely worth highlighting.
Yeah.
But I mean, we probably want to start with at the top there.
Yeah, I was
Um,
is Manel Cape next? You know what I mean? For um for Joshua Van. Now I think we talked last week. I think we're in agreement. Pantoja, whenever he's healthy, gets first crack. Whether that is gonna be whether Joshua Van's next, whether that's Joshua Van or let me just ask you, fill in the blank, Bobby. Joshua Van's next opponent will be blank.
Manel Kai.
Even so, you're but that's because Pantoja's not ready, right?
Yeah, I mean, with that is the assumption that Pantoja is not going to be ready. I mean, I said last week if the diagnosis was like 6 months or something, I would prefer for them to wait. But it sounds like it would take a little bit longer, but it's still a little unclear. I mean, we've seen multiple videos of him like working out with the other arm and stuff, but that doesn't really tell us anything. And I don't think he really. I know he probably Pantoja would want to get like right back in there, but with him getting the guaranteed crack, his next fight, I don't really see the point in rushing it. But we still don't really fully know what happened, so it's just more of an assumption. But yeah, that assumption would be that he's not fighting in the next 6 months, and I would assume that they would book. I think the best thing about flyweight, and especially when you look at all these other divisions, I think it will be the most active division. It kind of already has been, but it will continue to be, and specifically with title defenses. I think we'll get quite a few, whoever the champion really is. I mean, the negative side might say, well, because I know the negatives for Kite would simply be his schedule. Like if you look at his
Yeah,
Tapology page.
I was gonna say you mentioned that's who it should be next. Can the UFC trust him? Like we've seen him pull out, you know what I mean, a bunch of fights, you know what I'm like, or injuries or things like that. Like, can the UFC put him in a position to where he is fighting for the title? And you sure shit need a backup fighter if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean they'll probably employ. I kind of feel like he's a shoo-in for a couple of reasons. One, he's Nick Six guy, so the UFC is really good at working with him. And let's not bury the elephant in the room. Ali is his manager. So, and at the same time, I don't really think that should be looked at a negative in this light, because the reason I think the UFC would kind of overlooked that stuff in the past would mainly just be it's probably your most marketable fight that is not Joshua Van versus Pantoja. And, he cut a good enough promo. And I think, stylistically, I would prefer any of those top fights. But with what I saw, I've always been very high on Manel too. So there are other people that haven't been. It seems like the only thing that really gets in his way is himself, and I mean obviously Muhammad Makayev, but the UFC banished poor Momo. So
Yeah.
Until they really run out of contenders, I think that's kind of going to be who's next. And I mean with what he did to
Brandon
Raw
Royval.
Dog, I absolutely think he should be next. Like, if there was anything to push him over the line for something that we probably would have called a shoe-in last week for Tyara, I think that last performance kind of does it. So it'll just be, will the UFC be able to kind of stomach booking him? But like you said, they're so used to replacing stuff on the fly. I almost don't even think they consider that anymore. They might use it as excuses to not give Armin Sarukian a title shot, but I don't think that really goes in anything they're actually thinking.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I I do wonder, they talked about going to Japan. Like, if they go to Japan, like that's got Taitura is the guy, right? Unless it's like a fight night, and then maybe do Taitura versus Horiguchi.
So,
Is
so I'm already assuming that Japan is off the table
at least the
because,
first quarter, right? The first quarter is not on the. Because
well,
they
I
already
mean,
have
plain
the
and
first quarter
simple, they announced Horiguchi fighting in the Apex, and there is no. It would be. I know they do a lot of dumb shit, but there's no way they would have him booked if they were actually going to Japan a month later.
Well, no, I just think like they're not going to go to Japan the first quarter's already been laid out,
Yeah,
of all the places they're going to go. So it won't be in the first quarter. And I don't know how active Joshua Van wants to be. He says he wants to be pretty active. Like he's already tweeted out today, Cape or Tatura, bring him on. That's kind of where he's at. So he wants to be active. He didn't really get a fight in really against Pantoja. He's
I think that's why he wants to get back in there so quickly too.
Yeah, agreed. Whit, I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked Bobby. We were talking about the flyweight division, and obviously Manel Cape with the big win Saturday night. So I'm going to ask you, the next time Joshua Van steps into the octagon, his opponent will be blank.
For me, man, I'm somewhere in the idea that even before Joshua Van steps into the ring, they're going to have some type of wild, crazy elimination situation because. Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it was up a little too loud. But I would love for it to be the immediate answer to be Manel Cape after the showing this past weekend. But like I said, somehow, some way, if they throw a Pantoja Manel in there,
I think Pantoja. We kind of all agreed that Pantoja, when he comes back, he gets the title back. Right. But I just don't know if that will be Joshua Van will still be the title holder, or because Van wants to fight today. You know what I mean? And we know that Pantoja, who knows how long he's going to be out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's exactly the right point. Is that right now we don't know what's going on with Pantoja, but when we get a better timeline, will we see Joshua Van fight someone in that gap? In my mind, I'm pretty much certain that we will. But my thing is, will Manel Cape fight first, right? Fight anybody, and then Joshua Van? Because to me, the extent of the Pantoja injury is still one of those in which I think we are underestimating. For especially like championship level grappling Pantoja, not just get in the ring and be a fragment of himself. I really think that we gotta be looking at July, August for like Pantoja to even think about coming back. You know what I mean? So, but in between that time, if we get a Manel Cape, if we get a Manel Cape in there, Tatsuro, right? I wouldn't be mad at that. And then somewhere in there, of course, we go, okay. Now, if Manel Cape wins in there, boom, we somehow, I know, right? And then somehow we get the imaginary fight, which would be Joshua Van versus Manel Cape. I would do that. I would. I wouldn't be mad at it. But then, yes, immediately, whenever Pantoja makes is 100%. Yes, whenever Pantoja is 100%, that's when he goes in and fights whoever has the belt.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're you're on the same track as what we're saying as well. So you guys both think it's Cape next. And if you ask Joshua Van, he would take, he would have, if he would fight both the Tatura and if he can, and Cape before he fights, if Pantoja is ready. If he, I think if, and beat both of them and then try to do the third walk against Pantoja, which I would tell him I wouldn't do that if I was managing him and if I was, part of his team, just because I don't think you want 3 fights in a year and then your third fight being arguably the second greatest flyweight of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of them will have a title shot before we see Pantoja again. Like, without having any type of timeline, that's just and part of that is Van's activity. But I mean, even if the scenario, if he would not win, I think they would kind of equally still be making it like a 3-4 month turnaround thing, because we'll know a little more like with how they're doing the Paramount stuff. But Van's been calling to like put this on the Houston card, and it makes sense. It's his hometown. I pointed out last week, there's really no excuse not to do it with the pay-per-view model gone. But at the same time, we know they do kind of like to hold the titles for the numbered event. So I think that kind of also might play a factor into.
I would say, to me, I would think March maybe, if like he wants to, but then like you can't have like a that be the co-main to the BMF title. You know what I mean? Like you can't have Max and Charles be the headline and then the co-main event be the flyweight title.
Did I hear you say BMF? Did you say that? Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, they said that. They said that with in March. That's happening. Charles versus Max.
I know that. I know. Y'all know I'm riding with the BMF. Y'all know how I feel about the BMF belt, man.
That's Witt's favorite belt. But yeah, so like that's so. Then now you're looking into April. You know what I mean? As far as getting a fight book. Then from April to what? Another 2-3 months. So.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if they beefed up the first card even more and just threw it in January?
It's too late for that now.
I know it's unrealistic, but like if you want to actually make me be like, wow, this is just as good as a pay-per-view, but I'm not paying for it, that would be the move. Right now, it's more like, oh, this is good, but I'm glad I don't have to pay $80 for it.
Well, I think if you really want, if a card that needs beefed up, it's the February card or the next card, the next weekend, an Australian card. Look at that card. That could use the flyweight title.
Yeah, all due respect to Australia, but we are not sending Joshua Van to Australia to lose half his pay to the government. I doubt he would care, but yeah, that one could definitely add something to make me a lot happier. But I don't know. I think April is probably realistic, but that's just kind of a downer because that is pretty much 4 months. And, Van didn't really have a fight. Hype didn't go to the second round. I would just be like, come on, what are we doing here? Like, let's just line these guys up. And I think Houston is a layup. And to me, honestly, it wouldn't bother me if they still kept Sean Strickland co-main and
made it 5 rounds against Fluffy.
Yeah, but like even if Van was the co-main, I really wouldn't care. Like, I really just want to see the fight. So it I don't know. I feel like it's like people, harping on the Kayla Amanda card placement when at least we're getting that fight sort of thing. It would kind of be my same attitude for that. Like, let's just get this booked. Both these guys are healthy and ready. What are we waiting for? And, we know what we're waiting for. They want to, hold it for something. But, I just say let's get it going.
Yeah. Also on this card, Kevin, there was some, you mentioned about it, there's some great knockouts, especially early and then late on this card. Kevin Vagelos knocks out Giga Chikaze to enter the featherweight rankings. And speaking of featherweight, our guy Melky Costa, the Dalmatian, what a knockout he has against the Pirate. And, he's out there calling for a title shot. He's not even ranked. he's not even ranked. But I mean, this is like, well, I think it was his fourth fight, 5 fights in a calendar year. He's on this Joshua Van, type progress here. Yeah, let me look here. So yeah, this was he had 4 fights this year. Then he had one in June of 15. So he had sub against Andre Fili in February, a unanimous decision against Rodriguez in March. And then in May, he had a unanimous decision against Erosa. And then obviously the vicious fucking knockout that we saw Saturday night. I mean, and he's over here calling for a title shot. I don't think pump your brakes a little bit, but man, the kid, this is a guy that, people need to start watching out for if you already weren't.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was my circled fight on the card that I wanted to see. I thought we were just going to get guaranteed 15 minutes of violence, and he straight up blanked him with that kick. And I mean, he legitimately threw his name in the hat for KO of the year and fighter of the year.
And he didn't get a bonus.
Beautiful. And yeah, no, they dicked him hard on the bonus. I don't know if Milky needs to grab Dana White's collar or what, but he definitely should have got a bonus. I would say they did kind of have their work cut out for him with bonuses for that card. There were some other performances that were deemed worthy, but I hate to see him get snubbed, and I don't even want to call it a snub because the other guys absolutely deserved it. And a lot of the times in these scenarios, the UFC will take care of these guys and throw them something else, and they just don't tell us, so we can't rule that out. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting 2026 watching him. I mean, he absolutely should be ranked and fighting kind of ranked competition at this point. So I'm just really excited to see how much more of this run he can keep going, because he's on a generational one right now.
Yeah, he's on a 5-fight winning streak. So, so 2 and 3 3 of those are, via 2 by decision and 1 by knockout. So.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the other 2 he was a pretty decent dog in as well.
Yeah, dominated. Yeah.
But bookmakers definitely showed their respect for this fight, pretty much making it even money. But I thought there would kind of be a lot more to take away from it and break down, but he made it a pretty short night for himself. But because of that, it wouldn't shock me if. I think it'd be perfect to put him on that BMF card or something, and main card placement. Absolutely.
Yeah. Whit, real quick, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Uncle Neil Magny. I think we should all just bow our heads and say a goodbye to our great Uncle Neil Magny. As it's probably time to hang it up. I mean, he was a huge dog in this fight, but nonetheless got this, was finished in the first round by Amanov. So let's bow our heads and all right, moment pass from Neil Magny.
Right,
Bobby, I know she didn't bow your head for Uncle Neil.
Because he's not dead. He's got another 7 of those in him, dog. He lost to a former champion.
He's dead, Bobby. He's over. It's over for Uncle Neil.
And for me, in real life, what's my guy's name? Aroslav, right? Yaroslav, right? Aroslav, right? So the point is, he probably acknowledges that, hey, look, Neil Magny has the most fights ever in this division. He's seen a little bit of everything. The whole idea is that in order for me to break my way into the division, this is who I got to see. And yeah, it's unfortunate that, we didn't get Neil, what I would think would have been Neil Magny's best performance, but he came out there swinging, gave it the best he could. But Yaroslav just came back from being a champion in a whole nother promotion. And not even to say that, he just went and got his belt from a war zone, ladies and gentlemen. The man is serious. The man is not playing, and he told everybody, "Hey, look, in the division, he made it known that this is his thing." And let me just say that anaconda choke, the way that he put it on Neil Magny, and then it went from being, "Oh, okay, it's on," to no, he's gonna die if he doesn't tap out. That just shows you the skill set that I think a lot of times in the welterweight division, we've seen guys be professional choke artists, but it's going to be a whole nother thing when it comes to Yaroslav. But I'm excited to see what the future holds for this former champion in a whole nother promotion. But now you're going to be out there with the best of the best.
Yeah, while he's not ranked, I expect him to be his next fight to be a ranked opponent. I think they're going to do the RDR type build. They put him as somebody real respectable. He passed the test. Now let's see if he can start getting to go, and he'll get some guys in that 15 range. Go ahead, Bob. You got something to say?
I was just kind of nervous because there was a moment I thought this fight was going to getting canceled. And I saw them bump it up on the card, and I was just like, oh, come on. Let this one happen. And fortunately it did. And, I said last week, I kind of thought the UFC was a little soured on some of these Bellator guys, because I was surprised this wasn't on the main card. It absolutely deserved to be there. And I mean, you kind of saw the performance, so it spoke for itself.
I think if it wasn't Neil, then it would have been on the main. I agree with you. But if it was anybody else but Neil Magny, they might have slid it up there.
I don't know. Neil's got the most welterweight wins in UFC history.
Which is what I think that, yes, it should have been on the main card. But the bookmakers, man, they were like, look, hey, this is the guy. If you want to get in, and we have had this conversation with Neil Magny has taken on guys in the welterweight division from other promotions and have dusted them off so that they could be prepared for stardom in the UFC. But this just was not. This wasn't the one. This wasn't.
I mean, Uncle Neil's lost 4 out of his last 6 fights. It's time to hang it up for Uncle Neil.
Yeah, but bottom line, he should be fighting a ranked guy.
Agreed.
And let's have him remove people that really don't belong in the rankings. Give him Kobe.
Perfect. Just off the old Kobe Covington, eh? Let him say something about being Republican and what how much money
versus Kobe.
Oh God, listen. I didn't even think of the build.
Let him say some stuff about how much money our great president is giving to Ukraine to help fight that war. And spark some interest. I think that'd be great.
Okay, give him Gilbert Burns. I completely forgot.
Gilbert, you know that's where it's going.
Gilbert is getting ready to fight Mike Malott, I believe, is what he said.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I heard the same thing. He's getting ready to fight Mike Malott, but as soon as you put Colby Covington in front of him,
I like that. Actually, that's a good build.
Kobe's going to go, well, look at all what we're doing for Ukraine. We're going to do something else for Ukraine. We're going to put Kobe Covington in the ring with Yaroslav Amosov, and we're going to see who's the best. We're seeing and all that good stuff. And he's going to drag it through the mud.
They could put it on the White Hat done.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's it.
Prelim for the White House card. Kobe Covington versus Yaroslav Amosov and the president. The president's going to be down with that because, of course,
Kobe's his guy.
Yeah. That's what we do, right?
Yep. Speaking of Americans, I was just trying to transition. But we got to shout out Steven Asplund.
That's an elite transition because I was hoping you were talking about him.
Steven Asplund, baby. Former 500-pounder. Lost a bunch of weight, and I believe his dad was a fighter, and he got his first win. In fact, he had the most. I believe he had the most output in a heavyweight fight besides Stipe. I think they said.
I think it's like the most. Is it the most consecutive connections?
Significant strikes.
Yeah,
look it up. But I think his dad actually fought Bobby Lashley.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I remember someone saying that on Saturday.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, he beat Steven Sharaf in the second round. I mean, this heavyweight division, I know it seems like we're building up some guys here. We got this guy who's willing to suck on Dana's toes, and he called out, and they've been exchanging back and forth on Twitter, Hokit, the incredible Hokit. So another recent Dana White Contender Series guy who cut the promo. Initially, he was wanting to fight Walker, but we know Walker's out, so Mr. Heel Hook himself has got a busted heel. So, yeah, book it. Give me Hokit and Asplund, it live in the Apex, baby.
Hey, listen, and I want to give a big shout out to both of those guys in that fight, because Steven Asplund, Sean Sharaf, two big guys going at it. Not really much of a thought process in who's got dominant position or who's switching stances or look at the takedown. None of that. It's the once the blood started, and of course, and as a UFC fan, you can't, Bobby, you know this. Every once in a while, we just like a good slobber knocker. And that's what we got on the last card of the year.
Yeah, Jim Ross. We all like a good slobber knocker.
Right. I really, yeah, exactly right. So I can't be mad at it at all. And I was excited for real. Like when he got a chance to speak and kind of give his story, say he was 500 pounds, he's picked on all the time. His dad fought, all of that. Y'all know me. Of course, as we all know, Botkins, got the dad thing going on. I got the dad thing going on. Bobby is many people's fathers, apparently. I shout out to you, bro. And the whole point is, I really get down with that type of storyline where, you triumph over something and now you're doing something big. So big shout out to him. And yeah, that's why he got that bread, man. He got some blood on the canvas.
Easily fight of the night. They made the right. Both of those guys obviously deserve something. And Steven was taking shots like he had a 500-pound chin. I mean,
yeah.
He was just eating them and still moving forward. And then that cut that he opened up was so bad. There's enough damage in that one single fight to last entire career. But absolutely, just cool to see someone it's just really easy to root for. I know a lot of people really resonated with the promo, and he just seems like a very likable guy, and he's someone that you could remember in a sport that doesn't really defend or not defend promote its guys. Like he absolutely knows what he's doing to get his name out there.
Yeah, agreed. I want to any other shout outs, Bobby, from Saturday night real quick.
The co-main is worth mentioning.
I mentioned that already.
Yeah, it's just the performance was great. The calling out Cub Swanson kind of poured salt on the performance for me. It's like, come on, dog. But maybe there's some history there or something, or he wants to fight a legend. But excited to see what's next for him. And
you're gonna enter the rankings too. Cub's not in the rankings, so why wouldn't you want somebody that's in the rankings?
Yeah, and afterwards I saw he corrected it and called for John Silva. I mean, we know he's already booked, but that's kind of more, in the level of
somebody sat him down and talked to him. Let me tell you who you should be called out. So hire me to be your PR guy. You know what I mean? Let me be your shoot guy. The promoter.
Yeah, but he's he got an interview on Ariel and stuff, so his name's getting a little bit more well known. I know there were a lot of people that were excited to see it. So it's I would say try to get him out of the apex, like maybe get him on a number card next to just build him up a little bit more, because he's got an exciting style.
Yeah.
But and then but I gotta give a shout out to King Green. Yeah, I really wasn't sure how that one was gonna go with the way some of his recent fights have gone and fighting the younger guy. But
on short notice and a catch weight.
Yeah, I mean, he really beat the brakes off that kid. I'm glad he didn't get fucked over with the decision. Like, one of the judges had it split, which I just did not understand what they were watching, but just probably sound like a broken record with that at this point. But good to see him get back on track. I felt like he was fighting with his hands down a little bit more than usual, but he's always just walking forward with his hands down. So yeah, good to see him bounce back there.
Yeah, before we get into the big event this Friday, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Bud Crawford hanging it up yesterday as the news broke.
Oh, perfect timing.
So goes off. He kind of goes out as undefeated, the champion. He's probably not going to get any more money, or maybe he might have, but any like brighter star than what he is right now after beating Canelo a few months ago. And I don't know what other mountain there is to climb for him. I mean, there's maybe a few fights out there left, but once you kind of beat the guy and become the guy, he's hanging it up. So, Whit, you're kind of the boxing aficionado. I'll start with you. Your thoughts on Bud Crawford putting the gloves down?
Okay, so
for now, we all know boxing is
boxing is periodic, especially when it comes to someone such as Bud Crawford. There may be a time in which someone will feel the need to call him out, challenge him, but right now nobody can see what he's done thus far, especially after beating Saul Canelo Alvarez in such a dominating fashion. So the report is that, and I'm sure all of you have seen between Twitter, Instagram, and whatnot, when you win all of the belts, each sanctioning body has a mandated amount or sanctioning fee that you pay in order to carry the belt for that.
Yeah, he pretty much told him to go fuck off.
Correct. So the WBC technically is that allegedly is the one that it's been spread around that Terrence refused to pay. Now,
I wouldn't pay the ass either.
Right. But once that happens, it's a domino effect, which then goes, well, since you can't pay, you also cannot compete for said belt.
Yeah, of course, vacate his belts.
Right. And now we strip you. So kind of a FU to the sanctioning body as well. You ain't got no champ. You know what I'm saying? You want my money, you ain't got no champ. And what Crawford said in a live that he posted on Instagram and on X was that the other sanctioning bodies took an absorbent amount of money that he kind of just gave. You know what I'm saying? Like he just willingly gave them. The WBC's mandated amount, which has not yet been disclosed, was to him, or for what he said, was outrageous. He was like, everybody else took what I gave them, no questions asked, and they were fine. The WBC is the only one who has a possibly, you know what I'm saying? And in my mind, I'm thinking if you're paying $250,000 to everybody else, right, to the other 3 or 4 sanctioning bodies, what do they want? Half? $750,000? $750,000? You know what I'm saying?
Like $250,000 to any of them.
Right.
What work are they doing? What work are they doing?
But the world of boxing has been toiled over for time and for centuries. And now the thing that we, as we do head kicks and haymakers, really get to look forward to is the implementation of what's going to happen for the pay-per-views in 2026. And Dana White, and once again, working hand in hand with Turkey Al Sheikh to kind of shake up the world about what are they going to do 2026 with no Crawford, with Canelo kind of being on the downside. Who's going to fight? Where's the heavyweight fight going to happen? And then, of course, and I know you were going to skim over it just a little bit, but then, of course, we got spectacles like the one we will have on Friday.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it after the Crawford fight here.
But we got spectacles that may happen, but not necessarily top tier fights that we can kind of look forward to. Even right now, you know what I'm saying? We got the Gypsy King still talking trash, still out there, making noise. But what is the next big thing for boxing? Because right now, even Lamont Roach just had a draw. Like, Tank is going through a whole bunch of abuse cases. It's really unfortunate that Bud Crawford gets to the top and kind of doesn't have a dance partner. And that's what a lot of times boxing requires, the right dance partner. And right now, at the time when it was Bud versus Saul Canelo Alvarez, yeah, that was great. But with the fight not even being close to some people, now he has no partner, Now because Canelo goes and whoops up on somebody else and then comes back, which I doubt. It's really not a platform or a stepping stone for him to look at right now and say, hey, not unless Floyd comes out of the woodwork, which nobody wants to see that. But
he's too busy trying to fight Mike Tyson.
Listen, Floyd like a spectacle now. Don't let Floyd fool you. Floyd likes some money, and Floyd want to see just to see the dollar sign. That's all Floyd sees. He don't care who it is. But for now, unfortunately, Bud Crawford hanging it up, all amidst the reported and alleged refusal to pay one of the sanctioning bodies, that being the WBC.
I don't know if that was all of it, but I do know that was maybe part of it. Why the retirement, Bobby? Your thoughts on Crawford's retirement?
Yeah, I mean, the sanctioning body thing is why they stripped him and vacated. But these fucking dinosaurs are delusional. They are using a dying model, and Crawford don't need them anymore. He's got Turkey and Dana. Like, if there's anything that he ever wants to get done, if there's any fight to get him back, it's going to be that. And
yeah,
I understand, like, all the purists are going to be like, that's not how it is in boxing. And I don't know what boxing you've been watching. Like, Turkey owns all of these motherfuckers. What he says pretty much goes. And when he rug pulls that money, they're all going to be, with their hands still out, not getting anything. And, I don't agree with this, but I fully expect TKO to take these motherfuckers' lunch money. They are not aware with what they're trying to change, and it's going to force them to change their practices. And, as far as like Crawford retiring, why the hell wouldn't he? I mean, that exactly, you can't get any better than that. He smoked Canelo. You think any of these other fucking people it ain't worth it. Like, you want to go out on top, you leave the sport before it leaves you. And Crawford is fully aware of that. And so I think it's the perfect move to do. You can't even entertain. Like, he was willing to fight Jake Paul. He'll take the bag, like, if it's there. But I think people really got to put what they think adds to prestige just on the floor, because he doesn't give a fuck about any of that. Like, he's on his legacy, and that's all that matters. And that's kind of been his entire career.
And I want to comment on that. You want to know why I think a lot of that. You got ghost pockets?
That's my dog.
Oh, okay. But I'll tell y'all the story in a little bit. But anyway, but yeah, so I really feel like the idea is Bud wasted so much time, and I don't want to say wasted, but he was so underutilized. There it goes. Bud was so underutilized at Top Rank with ESPN. So underutilized. So under publicized.
Appreciated.
So underappreciated while he was there, and he was just dusting cats on Friday nights. You know what I'm saying? On ESPN. And then when we finally get to the point where, Errol Spence, Errol Spence had 2 car accidents by this time, but Errol Spence was still that guy. You know what I mean? But we just had not seen the effect of extensive plastic surgery on your face meeting a glove of a madman. And when I say mad, I mean controlled anger, because I've heard and seen that 60-minute special on numerous occasions where the man asked Bud's mama what was going on in the hood, and Bud's mama said, I was paying little boys $20 to beat him. And nobody did. And he whooped them all. And he looked dead in the face. He looked dead in that camera and said, I was mad all the time because my mama didn't think I was going to win. And I completely, I don't know who you can put in the ring with him to make it worth him losing, is my point. But anyway, once again, if it's not Bud, even right now, the heavyweight division, Usyk, what is Usyk going to do? Right now, we got Joshua and Jake Paul. Like, who in the heavyweight division can Usyk fight to make it look?
Well, he just fought, right? He just beat up
who? Usyk?
He's supposedly fighting Deontay Wilder. I don't know what's asking.
I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm gonna tell y'all this.
I thought he had a fight, didn't he?
No.
Usyk, the dude who was supposed to fight just lost.
Right, the dude who was supposed to fight just lost. The what's his name? Samoan guy. Yeah, I just was on my tongue. But the point is, and I'm gonna say this: boxing is also a charitable sport. When I say that, you know what I'm saying? Boxing is a charitable sport. You know why I say that? Because Alexander Usyk knows Deontay Wilder. And Alexander Usyk also knows Deontay Wilder's story. Usyk is offering Deontay Wilder the opportunity to make a large payday once again in the midst of him having not the most illustrious ending to his career. Usyk could go out there and dance with him. And Usyk is such a nice guy that he'll let him last all 12 rounds. Get the biggest bag possible, but you're still going to lose. And I'm saying that because I know that is not a comp. That is not a comp right now. And I'm a Deontay Wilder fan. If you go back and look at Headkicks and Haymakers, I am on the Deontay Wilder bus, train, plane all day long. But Usyk calling him out is just saying, bro, we boys. Let me get you 23 million. I know you're doing great things out there in Alabama. You're supporting the youth. You got a building named after you down there. They made him a statue. How about I put $23 more million in your pocket because I'm getting bored. And I won't completely befuddle you as I outbox you, because Deontay Wilder is not a boxer on the level of Usyk. If we saw Usyk manhandle nicely the Gypsy King, what is he gonna do with the slugger Deontay Wilder? What is he gonna do? Dance around him? You know what I'm saying? And that's just my opinion. And once again, I am not taking anything from Deontay Wilder's career or his prowess or his power and what he has done in the ring. But the two of them on two totally different planes. And I'm cool with saying that. And I hope Deontay Wilder sees this and goes, and knows I still support him. Bro, if you go out there, just do your best, because he's giving you the bag. 23 million. Just come out there and just dance with me for a little while. That's it.
You also just kind of described everything wrong with boxing, though, in that. Like, that is a big part of the problem. And kind of why, like, Turkey was able to make all this noise when he was getting these guys to fight people they normally wouldn't fight. So I get the reason why they're making it, but I think that's just kind of more of what people aren't asking for, sort of thing.
Yeah, let's move into, we mentioned a few times the heavyweight in the bag, and by God, we're getting one of the best heavyweights, and he's getting a bag as he has stepped in for the aforementioned Tank Davis, and he is taking on Jake Paul this Friday. That is none other than Anthony Joshua. I mean, I guess, I'm going to tip my cap to Jake Paul here. You're taking on an Olympic boxing heavyweight. This is the real deal, and I just think that, like most people, that if Joshua doesn't, this is a guy who knocked out Francis Ngannou in like the first round, and then some. So I think if it goes past 2, the fix might be in, but it sure shouldn't go past 2. If you ask me, Bobby, I'll start with you just on Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua.
Well, let's describe how we actually got here, because, everyone and their mom is doing the, hey, tip the cap, respect.
Are you calling me everybody their mama?
I'm not really referring to you, but prior to you doing that. And yeah, I mean, I get it. You got to kind of give him credit for that, but
I'm just giving him credit. He's stepping in there. I'm going to give him credit. I'm giving him credit where it's due.
Yeah,
I know how we got here,
But I don't think a lot of people do. A lot of people are just under the assumption that he had to take this fight because they, on short notice, needed everything to go right. But in reality, the same kind of freak show look that this fight was going to have, they originally tried to do it with Jake Paul and Tank Davis.
Agreed.
The market rejected that fight. No one wanted to see it any more than Julio Cesar Chavez. MVP comes with this bullshit smokescreen about more of Tank's indiscretions. Newsflash, we know about Tank's indiscretions. You knew the kind of guy you were getting into business with. They used Tank's character to be able to pull a fight that wasn't selling, and they're giving us this now, because this is what everyone wants. They want to see Jake Paul get KO'd, and you're finally delivering on that, because so far have we been milked this nothing burger. So, it ain't like, we got here willingly. This is the market finally saying, fuck you, we're tired of this garbage. Like Julio Cesar Chavez. If you ask anyone about that fight, the only thing they'll know is he got deported the next day. Like, no one mentions anything about the fight. So I'm just, tired of acting like, we're so lucky that we're getting this. Save that bullshit.
I didn't say we're lucky getting it. I don't believe that. I was just giving Paul his credit for stepping in there with Anthony Joshua. So,
I mean, he obviously needed to maintain the Netflix bag. He wasn't going to let that go away. And, so yeah, credit to him for doing what he continues to do and finding ways to get the most amount of money for his fights.
Yeah, but except for, he's supposed to do the Chael Pisan and fight the easiest guy for the highest amount of money, and that's what he's been doing. Except for this time, he's probably biting off more than he can chew. Wait, your thoughts here?
All right, man. So this is my honest opinion. This is, first of all, let's start with what was to be. Tank Davis being on this card is subjugated to extreme scrutiny because TKO has a really great, I'm with it. They have a really great stance of including awesome female fights.
MVP, you mean MVP, Jake? That's what they're trying to sell us on. That's not really what happened, though.
It's comical. Like, that didn't stop them when they booked Mike Tyson.
But it's Tyson. But Tyson has been. You see what I'm saying? Tyson's domestic violence cases were so long ago, and he's done.
I agree there. I agree with what you're saying as far as like Tyson was like 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, Tyson's cases were 30 years ago. He's done 2 hangovers by now. We forgot about that.
We've forgiven him.
Right? We forgive him. But Tank's domestic violence stuff is real egregious. You can Google it. You can find the videos of him wilding out on Twitter with the police outside his mansion. Like, it's happening. So for them to say, hey,
what Bobby's saying, and I agree with this, those things, you knew that he had done those things prior to signing up for this fight.
Not only that, they were using it in the promotion of the fight. Jake Paul was saying, I'm going to knock out this woman beater. And that's why, like, that part to me is so comical that, like, MVP was taking the moral high ground. Netflix just told him this shit is cheeks. We need something else.
And I think two things can be true at the same time. Netflix told them that this was not going to work, and at the same time, when they were specifying as to why it would not work, they were saying there are too many women who watch this. Look at because they got a guy. Trust me, every one of these companies.
I don't think they give a fuck about women.
Listen, they got a guy whose whole part of his job is to pull the tweets up and go, hey man, look, it's 1,000, 2,000 women going, I'm not going to watch this because he's got all these sexual abuse cases. I promise you. And they said, you know what? Let's clean the fight up. Who can we get? And then they said, you know what? Maybe we can get Anthony Joshua. And they did. But now let's get to the point. Let's get to the real meat of the thing right here. I think in real life, no cap, no plan, no fix, right? If Jake Paul does this the right way, he could really actually knock out Anthony Joshua. The last couple of fights, listen, bro. I'm not. Hear me out. I
need to know what we need smoking, bro.
When I say actually, I'm saying Anthony Joshua in no way, shape, or form should let this happen. I'm there. I'm with you. Because you want to know why? I'd really rather see Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder like it should have been 4 years ago when it was going to be meaningful. That's what I would rather much see, and that's what is possibly on the table if he is to beat Jake Paul. But as we talking about tonight, I want to look at just the facts of the matter. And the thing is, Anthony Joshua has had some really, really tough fights in which he has had some really awkward knockouts recently. The Dubois knockout wasn't the most flush landing on his chin when he got taken down. Back when it was Usyk, he got taken down over there. We saw the Andy Ruiz takedown. It's not as though it is impossible, is my point. My point is, it is not as though it is impossible to see.
I see what you're saying. He's had some fluke fights where he's gotten knocked out by.
And they were never. It was never the straight right to his jaw. Oh my God! Look at this. He's down. No, it was the slip. He's falling down. And he got tapped, and now he's not. Because when he fought Dubois, they let him get up, and he did great. And then Dubois caught him again. And I'm saying the possibility is that if Jake Paul finds a way, magically, there's a possibility this could be one of the largest ideas of an upset that we will be able to view on Netflix.
Well, I believe that when my shit turns fucking purple and tastes like orange sherbet.
Because this ain't Tyron Woodley. This ain't Tyron Woodley where he's going to signal him to get jawed and knocked out. No. I'm just saying this is a possibility that when we least suspect it, during round 7 or 8, Joshua is not going to have his hands up properly, and it could possibly get knocked out. That's what I'm saying. But I'd love to see it go all 12 rounds. If it goes to the scorecard and magically something goes wild, I'm not with it.
It's 8 rounds.
Oh, 8 rounds. Yeah, if it goes 8 rounds, and it magically
2-minute rounds.
Yeah, 2-minute rounds. Yeah, that's yeah. But if it goes 8 rounds,
going to be running a marathon.
Magically, if it goes 8, and then all of a sudden we get those, 29, 28, 29, 28, 27. Oh, I'm cutting the TV off. As soon as that last judge gets named, and they say
if it's not an Anthony Joshua knockout by round 2, it's fucking fake. It's fucking bullshit. We're talking about an Olympic boxer. I know Jake, and I give Jake Paul credit. Like, he has dedicated his life to this. He's got all the fucking money in the world, so he can dedicate 24 hours a day. The best trainers, the best, we're talking about a fucking Olympic boxer in Anthony Joshua. There's just fucking no way.
I refuse to do this.
Are you sure?
I lied to myself.
Are you sure about that? Like, y'all see what I mean?
Fucking HIV positive. Legitimately, like, think about it this way. I lied to myself in thinking that Francis had anything of a shot in being able to beat him. And he turned him into a fucking corpse. Now, if you want to make the argument that Jake Paul is a better boxer than Francis Ngannou, I would hear that argument. That would make sense. But the only winning in this fight for him is him, like, surviving. The ring is bigger than it normally is. I think his main thing is to just kind of avoid engaging and hope to last a couple of rounds, like last longer than Francis. I think it's comical to look at it any other way.
I agree. I mean, I see what Witt is saying as far as like Joshua has had some fluky. He's been knocked out fluky ways before, but
yes.
It's not fucking. If it there's just no fucking like. If it happens, it's fucking upset in the history of all sports, and people will think that the fix is in.
Listen, I'm FaceTiming both of y'all if anything of the sort happens between round 5 and 8. Everybody better answer the phone too, because I'm telling you. But in other news, all right.
So you're picking Jake Paul. But
like, if it goes to the 5th round, that's a win for Jake Paul. Like,
I think if it gets past 3 rounds, it's a win. Yeah.
If it gets past 3 rounds, it's a win because once again, Jake Paul is trying to prove legitimacy of his career. That's it. This is a legit, like you said, Botkins, Olympic level boxer. You can't get any better technically. And they basically don't really weigh the same, but they're going to meet.
Fight someone that's bigger than him for the first time.
Yeah, and he's fighting someone.
Man lost the decision to Tommy Fury.
Yeah, Tommy Fury was out there getting it in. But my thing is this, right? I am excited to see, right? What I am also excited about. Low key, y'all know me, right? Anytime you put Anderson the Spider Silva anywhere, dog, I'm there.
I don't care about that in Woodley.
Alicia Baumgartner and Lita Bodine. Okay,
yeah. That's getting a good rub. That's going to be a good rub.
Yeah, that's where we at. That's the one that's gonna make me, that's gonna really get me locked in. That fight right there. And
watch out for Kalen DuBois and Camila Pineda on the co-main, by the way, on the prelims. Prelims, sorry. But I do the co-main, just like the Tyson and Paul fight. The co-main will be the fight of the night, much like we got with Serrano and Taylor in the co-main. Baumgartner versus Boudin will be the hell of a fight.
And Baumgartner is hell already. I can't lie to you. If there's anything I do enjoy looking at in the morning.
Any interested for you? I am not interested at all in the Silva Woodley fight. Witt seems to love that fight.
It's the Spider. I love the Spider.
Let me know. Hey, this is 2025. It ain't 2015. It ain't in a fucking octagon. It's in a fucking boxing ring. I could give 2 shits.
I mean,
he's closer to 40 than he is 20. You know what I mean? He's closer to fucking 50 than he is his prime in the octagon. Come on now.
Wolf Spider.
Like, one thing I will say about like Jake Paul for the main event is normally all you get with these fights is like the buildup. And this, I guess, would be the first time ever that I'm like interested in actually watching it, because what has been teased all this time can actually happen, where every single other time it just feels kind of very unrealistic, like puncher's chance sort of thing. But I mean, he's come a long way since fighting Nate Robinson and Ben Askren and stuff. So
yeah,
you gotta give him credit for that. But I mean, like you said, the co-main should be mildly entertaining, and I could give a flying fuck about Anderson Silva versus Tyrone Woodley. Like, I'm happy they're getting paid. Yes. But I have no interest in
the bag, boys. I don't give a shit about the fight. Same with if it was Weidman and Silva, could give a fuck less. Don't care.
Well, I will say I'm a little more happy that it is Woodley in this position than them doing the wide. I don't know. That one would have made me even more just, I don't need to see this vibe. And like, we're not done. We know this is just to pull in the MMA fan base, like having them on there. So it's like the token MMA fight. Hooray.
Hey, listen, why? And then the viewership in Brazil goes up and down. Watch. They just to see the spider. Y'all know the spider is a Brazilian national treasure. Everybody in Brazil is gonna be watching that.
He is. All right. Whit, before we get out of here, any final thoughts or anything like that?
Hey man, once again, we appreciate you, Barkins, having the gang together. We love it. Always make sure I'm gonna be in the space with Bobby and the guys talking a little bit of trash probably this weekend. And when you get some time, y'all, do me a favor, check out the Rec Room Sports podcast and the Rec Room Sports Hub on YouTube. Check us out, talking sports, because we got to get into this basketball, man. Basketball's happening, and somehow, some way, man, we got to get to the Super Bowl eventually. I don't know who's we don't know who's the quarterback. Two quarterbacks going to be in the Super Bowl right now. Maybe Bodkins Packers makes it. Just watch out for these ACLs, baby. I don't know what's going on.
Bobby, any final thoughts here?
My condolences for your loss.
Thanks.
That fucking sucks, man.
It does.
Yes. And I will say though, I think a lot of the media is counting you out for sure. But that would be, this ain't a football show. But I meant to tell you before we started, but it completely slipped my mind.
It's all good. Okay.
And
thanks for bringing it back up every time I'm getting ready to get over it.
Yeah, no, I pretty much realized that in mentioning it that I was the asshole, so that's even worse. So just forget about what I said. But shout out to the ESPN era. It's really hard to pick one thing that I remember because there's so many different memories. Like if I were to pick one, it would probably be remembering because of the Apex, probably like Dustin Poirier and Dan Hooker.
I think there's three things that from the ESPN era I will remember: the Apex part, but the very first Apex, right? During the heart of the pandemic, they had the fights in like Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson, and then really the fight when the fans came back down in Jacksonville, and that's when, if you remember, that's when Usman knocked out Masvidal, and how loud that crowd fucking just went ape shit, and it's like, man, we've missed this fucking for a year and a half or whatever it was of no fans. So I think there was like 3 title fights on there, but it was definitely the that's probably those 3 I think will always be kind of in line with the ESPN era to me.
Yeah, man, and I'm gonna throw it out there, dog. Like, it was to see where it came from, to watch how in depth it was, the tough episodes, the somewhat of the expansion of what was like the equivalent of like the real world with fighters in the house. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that somewhere in what we won't necessarily talk about, but will be missed to some degree, is the depths in which we get a chance to see young up and coming fighters train, practice, get themselves ready, and what they
that's going to Paramount with.
I'm saying, like, but it was nurtured on the ESPN platform. You know what I mean? But and it's going to Paramount, but we saw it grow and turn into a whole nother thing. And even though it was a little corny sometimes, we get a bunch of guys wrestling with each other, and then they get drunk. Somebody's going to fight. Somebody's not going to like each other, But I think the expansion, when all of a sudden it was like, let's include guys from other countries. Let's include women. Let's include flyweights. It turned into a couple of different things, and I was a part of that era. As I got a chance to watch it, and I was happy to be there.
Yeah. Real quick programming note: we'll be off all next week due to Christmas. Then we'll come back January. January 2nd, which is a Friday night. We're gonna do our end of the year awards. So I'll be posting some stuff on Twitter just as far as try to get some fan votes in. So we'll do like Fighter of the Year and all that type of stuff. Check that out. We'll be back. Until then, we'll be back January 2nd. Everybody, happy holidays, whatever it is that you do. Happy Hanukkah. Bring out your marijuana. It's time to celebrate Hanukkah. Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Have a great New Year. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great year doing the show with y'all, every Wednesday night for the most part. And can't wait to see what happens in the year 2026. So
Hey, bro.
it's been a great year for Headkicks and Haymakers. We've had a lot of great success, I feel like, and some growth. And we're going to continue pounding the show every Wednesday night. Hopefully,
his name is John Cena.
Oh, snap. Wow.
Nope, my name's not John Cena. My name's Bodkins, baby. But for Wit and Bobby Blunt, it's been a great 2005 here at Headkicks and Haymakers. We'll see you in 2026, January 2nd. We will be doing our awards show. So be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. We'll see you in the year 2026. Happy holidays.
I love it. You guys are so great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.